All right, guys, here we are again. Welcome back. We took about a week off of podcasts here just because we've been so incredibly busy with the breeding and the semen and everything. But we are back, and we are back in a big way. Special guest we got today is Todd Price DVM, one of the smartest hog vets I've ever met in my entire life, and that's not an exaggeration, Todd. We are a pleasure to have you here. Want to start talking here with Todd just as soon as we can. Myself, Randy, Todd, Mitch, and Aaron are going to be talking about a lot of we're going to try to keep it as simple as we can without using all the big fancy words, but there might be some of those that come out from time to time. There might even be a bad word that comes out from time to time as we're talking about. We do not edit this podcast, so listen at your own risk.
So do you even know the big words?
But Todd, thanks for coming out with us today. It's been a pleasure to have that veterinary relationship that we've had with you for so long, and I was glad we were able to have you out and make this work. So tell me a little about how you got started and your veterinary practice and kind of the course you went through your life to get to where you're at right now.
Okay, well, first of all, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate it. Basically, we are currently at a 6-doctor, 3-clinic practice. We practice mixed animal. I do predominantly swine. About 95% of my time is in swine. Started our clinic in 1995. I practiced my first 3 years with Dr. Forship in Wauseon, who everybody knows is the state veterinarian.
Sure.
Yeah.
And enjoyed pigs from high school on, and kind of really liked Tony when I went up there from internship, so I hired on. Going through vet school was a 7-year process. It was time at Ohio State, and I'm a through and through Buckeye, but I hated Columbus.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get through as fast as I could. But I really got started in pigs by the help of my uncle. We moved to the farm when I was 9, and he asked me to come help him feed sows.
Yeah.
He had 150 sows back in the woods, and I was the guy on the back of the wagon being pulled by the BM dumping feed. So that got me started. He owned the local feed mill, so I worked for him at the feed mill. And then in 77, 78, he built a 1,000-head confinement finisher, which was big at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to scrape those pens every day and do all that kind of stuff.
So fun stuff.
Yeah, so I started at the roots, at the ground, and started working up, and always liked pigs, like all large animal, but always liked pigs. And the veterinary world was an access that I could work on animals and still get to do pig work and do health work.
Yeah.
So.
And there's not that many vets out there that actually specialize in hogs.
No, there isn't. And every time I hear that, I go back to the day we took our NAVLE, our national boards, and all the way through veterinary school, my classmates are like, I know what you're thinking about these pigs and yada, yada, yada. And we walked out of the board, and I think a third of the questions were about pigs, whether it was pharmacology or toxicology. And they just walked in and said, you had it right. I got lucky, and that helped me pass the boards, I guess. But there's not many of us out here that do pig work, especially with the corporations getting bigger. They get their own veterinarians, and that leaves fewer and fewer of us to do field work.
It makes it a little bit hard for just someone that has a couple sows that lives in Idaho or Wyoming or just you name it. We talk to customers all the time, and they have a question for us, and we do the best we can. Of course, we're not a veterinarian by any means, but we do the best we can to get them pointed in the right direction anyway. But it's surprising to me how little help there is from a pig specific, swine specific veterinarian, or even someone that specializes in large animals at all.
Right.
That people have a really hard time finding that local vet or someone that's even within a couple hundred miles.
Right.
At times,
Yeah, I would agree. It's actually Ohio's trying to address it with the new state law that got passed. They're actually funding more for Ohio State, but they're requiring the state of Ohio Veterinary School to get more kids from Ohio in.
Yeah.
And that may help it. The problem then comes in the cost of school. You can't make enough doing large animal to pay for your education. So they're kind of diverting to small animal just from a financial standpoint. So
and that's too bad.
Yeah,
it is. We're lucky enough to have Todd within about an hour of us, and Todd comes down, from time to time, and he's really easy to get a hold of when we've got questions. And believe me, we've reached out plenty, and he's always got us pointed in the right direction. So like your normal operation, your day-to-day activities, I know you kind of travel around a little bit. You're at your own clinic quite a bit. Tell me about some of the stuff you do on a day-to-day basis as far as what you do at your own clinic at home compared to when you're traveling around and seeing people, if you were to come to our farm or anyone else's farm, or even some kind of big operations overseas. I know you've been to some of that.
So with the 3 clinics, as I get older, and I'm the only owner, so as I get older, I spend as much time managing people as I do working.
Oh,
That's just as important.
But 2 of our clinics only do small animal. And then our Upper Sandusky clinic has the haul-in facility.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not on the road, that's where I spend my time, because that's kind of a hub.
Yeah.
And in that facility, it's very seasonal, which is what I kind of like about the show pig industry.
Yeah.
After State Fair, it calms down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then about October, certainly by the first part of November, we're starting to cut a lot of C-sections and do a lot of those things. And then that rolls right into soft tissue surgeries, and then rolls right into feet work in the spring and summer. So, and all the other things that come with it. So when we're not there, about 5 years ago, I purchased a trailer. So we go out to 7 or 8 county fairgrounds now, and set up time so we might go 2.5, 3 hours away and set up time for local people to bring stuff in, make it easier on them. They can't afford to drive that far for just one pig surgery.
Yeah.
And my son joined the clinic 3 years ago. So actually there's a lot of Fridays he's cutting in the clinic and I'm cutting in the trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we can see
So
a
it
lot
keeps
of
you guys
pigs
busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the part that really that I enjoy a lot is the traveling. I think that's what always interested me in large animal medicine. Is I grew up with a couple of vets that I just rode with them in large animal, and I like the traveling. I like seeing other farms. I like the people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I stuck with large animal, and then licensed in multiple states, so I get to go to Texas and California and Michigan and Pennsylvania, and it's kind of interesting,
to get to meet different people from different parts of the world and see how, we might do it one way here for the most part, and then in Texas, maybe
totally different ballgame.
Totally different ballgame.
Totally different ballgame. Yep.
Yeah.
And even other things besides pigs. You go to Northern California, and that's where I saw my first pecans being harvested and walnuts being harvested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Never realized that it was that.
It's a pretty big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. I think people don't realize Northern California is a huge agricultural community.
It is
in all aspects of agriculture, really. And I think people think of California, I think beaches and Los Angeles and stuff, but they miss out on.
And that was me
until California. I think it's an opening for a lot of people.
It is.
Yeah, we've got a handful of people we deal with, and they'll say, "Well, we've got 3 acres of walnuts, or whatever, or pecans, or whatever it might be," and I mean, they make a really good living.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah. Well, Todd, at your place, I know you've got sons involved now, and you're going to have another son before too long, I think, involved. So you guys have a lot of sows yourself.
So my 3 boys and I have 75 sows, almost all crossbreds, and then sell show pigs.
You do, yep.
Sell show pigs. Have a few boars that we use and sell semen on, and then the commercial part of the deal is we feed about 40 to 45,000 commercial pigs a year. They come out of a 6,000 sow unit out in Illinois.
Okay.
We buy those wean pigs, and we have a couple packer contracts with a packer in Indiana and one in Michigan.
Okay.
So we have the commercial experience as well as the show pig experience.
Sure. A little bit of both. I mean, it's kind of a lot of differences.
Yeah,
I'm sure you see between the 2 different herds. It's almost like they're different species at times. It is.
The interesting thing that you find is they're totally different to work on, except for the fact that the health issues are the same.
Exactly.
Because that virus doesn't know if it's in a commercial pig or a show pig, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the build and the design and what you're picking for is totally different.
Totally different. Yeah. And I think that's one question we get all the time is, because the same way here, we try to service both ends of the spectrum as far as, the show pig world and the commercial world and the meat, quality world, and so trying to find that balance point, between all of that, I think is kind of a tricky place sometimes.
It can be. Our biggest issue that we watch is obviously we have the commercial herd and we have the show herd, and we have to watch that biosecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the hub is all right there. So it's kind of interesting, but we seem to get it done. We have a few contract finishers. Both my 2 older boys have a grower barn for us, and I have the old original one yet. So it's interesting to see how they overlap and what they do.
Yeah.
And part of what I enjoy is I used to consult for 55 to 60,000 commercial sows, and most of them have gotten their own veterinarian now. So I'm consulting for the smaller herds, and I actually just enjoy it more because again, you get to meet more people, see different setups, different operations, and it's just interesting to still be able to do some individual medicine on some pigs.
Sure.
And it's not just how many pennies is this costing, and
Right, exactly.
But we see it all, and it's all enjoyable.
For sure. One thing you kind of mentioned there, I wanted to circle back for sure. Biosecurity between your different places, and I mean that can transfer over to biosecurity even if you're just kind of a backyard guy with a couple sows and you're taking a show pig, and a lot of people now, these jackpots are only becoming more and more popular. People are going to different shows every weekend, and they're coming home with those pigs, and they're keeping those pigs maybe next to a couple sows that they're trying to breed. So let's touch on some stuff like that. How can we be a little bit better, a little more careful when we're, traveling with our hogs and we're going to shows and we're coming back?
So I would tell you, and what I open my health presentations up for the junior fair kids and wherever I go to lecture is, I personally believe health destroys more champions every year than anything else.
Boy, that's true.
We have more champions every year.
Couldn't agree more.
And it's getting easier with rope testing and other inventions. It's getting easier to get health done. It's just getting the word out.
Right. Getting people to do it.
Yeah. And when I first moved from commercial pig work to more show pig work, it's kind of considered the biosecurity Nazi,
Yeah.
And I had to kind of figure out a way to make things work. But we've gone from, so one of my first clients I picked up, remain nameless, but his question to me was, I just bought some gilts in Georgia. I don't want to bring them home. How do we get them in the herd? And I said, well, you got to isolate them for 30 days. He said, no, you don't understand. I'm dropping them into the herd. What's the best way to do that? So we've had to adjust everybody's mentation and how we're doing things.
Yeah.
When I was growing up and having pigs when I was in high school, it was 30 days. You dropped them in and you just acclimated them for 30 days and you were done. But with PRRS coming into the forefront, when I was a senior in vet school, about 91, 92, they figured out it was a virus. And that's really raised everybody's awareness of biosecurity. So getting people to understand that an isolation barn isn't the next room. It's like you guys have it here. It's a half mile down the road.
Mile.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where it has to be. Separate boots, separate coveralls. And that will cover 99% of what you need.
Yeah.
To isolate. That really will. It's, other than a crazy change in the wind and things like that, we're not going to get a problem with that. Right. But getting folks to do that consistently, and they kind of gave up, I think, for a while because we talked about earlier, not being able to find a veterinarian to test, and we always had the blood test.
Right.
Now with the rope test,
which we've done that here. Actually, we've done that with. I know we've set, the bag. We can talk about that a little bit if you want.
So these people, or some of the people watching this program, don't know what a rope test.
So a rope test is technology that came out about 12 years ago, and it's all due to the advancement in science. And it's a PCR test, same as you hear about on CSI, right? And we can actually have a pig chew on a rope, a simple cotton rope, and the labs, any lab, ODA,
they're getting their saliva.
They're getting the saliva, squeezing the saliva out, and then we can test that saliva for things like mycoplasma, PRRS, and flu. Okay, so that,
which we've done that here from time to time.
We've done that here when you guys bring things in, and it's only a PCR test right now, and PCR means that the virus or the bacteria is in that sample, which means that animal is shedding it. But that's all we care about in isolation.
Right.
We don't care if they've been exposed in the past. We still want them shedding when they came into the herd.
And a lot of them have been, or most of them have.
Most of them have. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's been a big, because as you guys know, you guys can grab that, you can submit it. Yep. You don't have to have a vet come out and do it.
It was easy. We hung a rope, and I think we hung it between a couple pins, and we moved it around a little bit so we could get kind of a variety. Pigs on. It was just kind of a group sample.
Yep.
It might have been 30 pigs worth of saliva or more. By the time we were done.
And that's how we use it commercially as well. It's just a broad spectrum brush of looking at it, but it has
a lot of information.
It has expedited the testing and isolation so much. And we send those kits out to people because we don't need to drive an hour and a half to hang rope.
Right.
I mean, people can do that.
Right. I think you just sent it to us.
Yep. It makes it easy. And it makes it easier then to get the client to conform to the testing you want to do.
Yeah.
And whether they have one sow or 100 sows.
Yeah.
You test.
It's going to tell you what you want
Yeah.
to know.
Yep. So that was a big advancement in biosecurity. And then keeping those pigs, especially in the jackpot era today, we have, keeping those pigs at a different site.
Which sometimes is hard because for
Yeah.
someone to have two places
Makes it
their
difficult.
hogs makes it difficult for
And
people.
but you have to, I have clients every year that have 5, 10, 15, 20 sows, and the kids want to go on the circuit and they don't isolate those pigs.
Yeah.
And the first thing they'll bring back is flu.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That'll be the first thing.
Mhm.
And then they'll bring PRRS back at some point if they keep it up.
Mhm.
So getting that isolation is just key to keeping the herd healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that when you go to any show, your hog, if you bring it back home, it's only as healthy as the sickest hog at that show.
Exactly, and that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. If you look at Dr. Bowman's research from Ohio State, it's great research and it's a reality. If 17% of pigs are showing up at a show that are positive for flu, within 72 hours, 80% are positive. Right? Within 24 hours,
That happens.
within 24 hours, you're up into the 30 percentile stage. So they're shedding it. We don't even know it, which is,
It's just a matter of one hog exhaling and another hog in.
yes, exactly.
and
Yep.
then it just travels
Yeah.
across that
Yeah.
line.
I compare it to people that have kids. Think about your kid when they went to school in 5th and 6th grade and 7th grade, right? That middle school time.
Mhm.
And the first week they come home sick every year.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. And then the parents are sick.
And then the parents are sick.
And the siblings are sick.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
vaccination wise, then I know that's always been a big topic for us. Not just for the breeding hogs, but I mean every hog that's born. We've got a really strict vaccination that you actually have written for us that we still follow, and we've made some adjustments on it as time goes on, as new technologies and new medicines come about. How important is it? I mean, for us, it's extremely important. But for even if you only have a couple litters a year and stuff, that for one, the baby pigs themselves as they're born follow a certain vaccination guidelines, and for us, the breeding gilts and the sows and everything, once they get to be of age, we get a pretty tight regimen that we follow, when we're doing our gilts and our sows and everything. So let's touch on that a little bit. And why is it important? Because there's lots of people we talk to, and I say, well, tell me about your vaccination program. And they go, which tells me everything I need to know immediately.
Right. Exactly.
Lady the other day, she said that everything was vaccinated very well. She uses Ivermectin.
Yeah. I found out really looking for Tony, you got to ask a lot of questions to get all the details covered because they're telling you what you can't assume what they're telling you is what you think it is. Right.
Exactly.
I always start with the fact that the sows in the herd are the stamping plant.
Mm-hmm.
That's your basis of what you're producing, whether you're in a manufacturing plant or in a sow farm.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep them healthy. So having that sow vaccinated pre-farrowing to get her bred, make sure she's not a disease that's going to keep her from breeding is key. And then pre-farrowing, we want to get her ready so that those pigs come out and are healthy. The thing that I find the difference in the commercial world and the show pig world is we only have one time a year basically we can make our money in the show pig.
Yeah.
Right.
Really,
you might miss her. You might be able to, breed her for December litters. You might be able to catch her for January litter, but after that, she's done.
It's a very specific time that you want to try to.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure your ducks are in a row.
They have to be there. They have to be ready. And then the other thing I tell my sow clients is, again, we sell pigs. I don't want all the phone calls for sick pigs. So my job is to prepare your pigs to go out into the world and go wherever, Texas, Oklahoma, wherever, and get mixed with other pigs. Stay healthy.
Yeah. Stay healthy.
Because they will get mixed with other pigs.
Absolutely.
So in the timing is important. So if you look at, and not to get too far into the details, but if you look at certain things, we know through the commercial experience that I had that if we vaccinate for circovirus below about 11 days of age, 12 days of age, it won't work.
Yeah.
Every sow has enough immunity to it. She'll block that vaccine.
Our first day that we do ours is day 20.
Right. And that's typically, where we're starting, that 14, 15 day and after. If we get too early, and that was from a real world example, the farm I was working with, 5,000 sows, and they wanted to back it up for labor to day 10. And we found out after some blood work, and we found circovirus in the nursery grower. Yeah. We went back and said, we've got maternal antibody. It's blocking through colostrum. It's blocking the pig from getting vaccine.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for all that. That's why if people tell me, well, my pigs are healthy, I'm vaccinating for this. my next question is what product are you using and when are you giving it?
Right.
Because all that makes a
That's
difference.
cool stuff.
Mycoplasma is another one that age makes a difference. Flu is another one. I see some veterinarians out here, and they'll remain nameless, but that want to hit pigs at 4 weeks with flu vaccine. And that has been shown to never work. I'm not sure why we're doing it.
Right.
I don't want to get into the science, but we always have to start with the science and what we know. And we just
know what works.
know with what works and then go from there.
Launch and trial and error.
Right. So it's very important to keep those pigs healthy. And we hit them. We try to hit them with pneumonia vaccine to prevent pneumonia and rhinitis and erysipelas. That's all in a combination. And then we do a circle myco vaccine. And then the big one today is PRRS.
Yeah.
Right. We want to get them with PRRS. And we recommend clients hit them with the modified live early. That's when you can do it day 7, day 8. And then we booster with the killed at weaning. And that gives us a spectrum of immunity, because you don't know where those pigs are going to be sold in the online sale or the private sale. You don't know where it's going to go.
Right.
So we have to have as broad of immunity as we can. And we get that through using a modified live and a killed. Because
it covers the best of both worlds.
Covers the best of both worlds. And we go one step further, and we take our multivalent or multiple types of PRRS virus and we update that every year with the new strains, because it's always moving. It's always changing. Right. We pull the oldest strain out, put the newest strain in. We don't, the lab does, but we ask them to do.
We get our vaccine directly from you. So we are reaping the benefits of your guys' research and year by year by year. And, we call Todd and said, hey, Todd, we need X amount of doses of PRRS vaccine. And, he calls the lab.
And that's the best way. We actually have a dendrogram or a genetic tree, and that's just the best way to decide to pick which ones you want out and in. So we have our broader coverage, and it still is no guarantee.
Right.
But it's the best we can do.
And I think that's a really good point you just made. All this stuff we're doing, there's no guarantee that we're not going to get Circa or Myco or air syphilis or anything.
Right.
But we're doing the best we can to try to make that percentage as low as possible that something bad's going to happen.
Exactly. Anybody that's been in the pig world in Ohio the last year knows that there was a lot of PRRS breaks in sow herds. And several of those sow herds were well vaccinated.
Were they really?
With a modified Lyme and a killed.
Wow.
And of course, my clients called me and said, they weren't my herds, but my clients called me and I said, I talked to the vet and they were vaccinated and with these products at the right time. And they're like, well, why are you vaccinating? And I said, well, you don't know that strain's going to hit you for sure. Yeah. And I can guarantee you, if you don't vaccinate, you're going to have issues.
It's going to be worse.
It's going to be worse.
Right.
It will.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of lowering the amount that it hits your herd and hopefully preventing it.
Right.
And if you do get it, it gives you the ability to get rid of it sooner, hopefully.
Quicker. Exactly. Yep.
So you were talking about vaccines, Todd. If I lived in Montana and my vet was 250 miles away and would come and see me 2 weeks from now, can people call you and can you develop a relationship that to where you can sell them vaccines that you make?
So we work with folks like that because you have to understand that Montana, Idaho,
right,
and there's just nobody out there to service them.
Right.
We try to have them find a local veterinarian, and then we work with the local veterinarian.
Gotcha. But
we can consult with them over the phone, and get them answer their questions and get them headed in the right direction.
Right.
The couple herds in California I work with, there's a local vet there that comes out. And actually when I go out there and I'm going out in 3 weeks, she'll be at the farm with me likely.
Yeah.
And then, she's seeing what we do. She just does a lot of dairy work. She's not a pig vet. Right. So, but we kind of talk the same language. You understand when I say PCR, she knows what I want.
Right. Exactly.
And then she can do the monthly testing and then she can copy me on the results and we can talk about it, get it figured out. But I enjoy helping them over the phone. It's one thing I think that we miss. It's one thing I always enjoyed about you guys and what you do, is that the way you guys help clients when they call you, especially with you, Randy, when they're calling you spend a lot of time on the phone.
I had to spend a lot of time on the phone.
And I think that's something that we've lost in this industry. Mm-hmm. We've lost the fact,
the service part,
of it. And I get new vets that start and they've been told in school, you bill for every minute. And my point to them is
who can afford that?
We're not doing that. Right. We're not doing that. You do part of it because you enjoy doing it. Mm-hmm. So you try to help people where you can. And then I'm fortunate enough that I'm in an IVS group and we're representing, I want to say we're around 21 states now.
Good.
Kansas, California, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota. So I can get hold of one of those folks
Mhm.
and find a way to get product to them or get a licensed veterinarian to their place.
Right, exactly.
That's
So
how we work.
if you can't send them product, you can get their vet on the line and
Exactly.
You can provide that highway, that
Exactly.
transportation, that route,
Find that
getting
pathway
something,
to
that
help
pathway
them.
to get.
so your knowledge can't get to a spot in Idaho, Montana,
Right.
but it might have to be through another vet.
Right. For instance, I'm going out to Oregon at the end of September after my California visit. I'm going out for the third time to talk to the Oregon State pork producers, which is
Okay.
about 30 people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But still, they have sows and they need help.
Oh, that
Of
is.
course.
And the biggest thing we struggle with is finding a veterinarian
Yeah.
to service those herds.
Wow. Wow.
So, because you can imagine with Oregon, there's just
Yeah, and they do want knowledge. I've been out there just
Exactly.
one time to do something similar on what we do, and it was amazing. They just absorb it like a sponge.
oh, they do. And the first time I went out, I was with Don Levis. He was talking about reproduction. I was talking about herd health, and I never forget. I stood up in front of the crowd, and Don had just given this hour presentation about reproduction, and Don's just an expert in his field, just unbelievable. And so I said, I'd like to get to know my crowd. So tell me, what's your number one killer in your herd? And 3 people yelled out mountain lions. And I said, yeah, whatever. They would, no, it's no, it's true.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. I'm like, well, I can't help you there.
Yeah, that's what's going to come from. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
You find a trapper.
Oh no, kids just go out and hunt mountain lions. When I was out there were some kids there in the morning that asked several questions that it was kind of fun to talk to, and they asked some fairly intelligent questions. Well, then we broke for lunch, come back after lunch. They were gone. I said, hey, where did Bill, John, and Harry go?
Yeah.
Well, they went mountain lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was,
Yeah.
they did what?
In a beautiful state.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful state. And
Yeah.
and again, like you said, Randy, the people that have the pigs out there, they're just thirsty for knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we field those phone calls and
those are the kind of people you want to help.
exactly.
Those are the kind of people that you kind of bend over a little bit.
Yep.
And you see what can I do, and because they want to know, and a lot of people do.
They want to know. They want to learn. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, neat stuff. Well, Todd, I know when I was a kid growing up, when I say a kid, when I was in my 30s and 20s, I had a really good relationship with Dale Hendrickson, which was in Farmland, Indiana. And Dale's been gone now for several years, and I've always really missed that. And for me, you've kind of taken his spot. Now, maybe not for everybody, but you're the guy that will work with small breeders and work with people that need help. Anyhow, we really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that. Was fortunate enough to get to work with Dale with the company.
Yeah.
Spent some time with him in some finishers and some sow farms, and very knowledgeable person about veterinary medicine and health.
Oh, I was, yeah.
So I take that as a compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just very good human being, very good veterinarian.
And very, very ornery.
Very ornery. Yeah. So if you wanted to know what was on his mind, just ask him.
And you didn't have to ask some time.
No filter.
Yeah. But yeah, he's missed in the industry. There's fewer and fewer of us doing it. But the ones that are in it, they're my age, are kind of in it,
Right.
for the long haul. So
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's lots of people that close their door at 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. I'm done. Dale was a guy you could call at 11 o'clock, and he'd probably answer his phone, and you're that same guy.
yeah. We try to service it.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of the biggest things when I was building the business, because I started my own. Just hung a sign out on Township Road 159 on a.
Said, please call me.
Yeah,
no, you can call me.
About business, obviously. It wasn't Stone Road, but it was close. You serviced your clients because you needed to. That's how you build a business.
Right.
Yeah.
And we started with large animal only the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So you needed to service the clients, and
And you need to service them several times.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
a one-stop deal.
No. So that was just kind of inherent. I think from that era, it's a little bit different today, but there's still good people out there.
Oh, there is.
Still good, some good young veterinarians out there. You just got to find them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean that's important, and that's one of the topics we kind of touched on just briefly. But developing that relationship with a vet that you like and that you trust, and that is willing to help you and reach out to you, like we've found in Todd here for us.
Yeah.
Todd's a guy that we've got your phone number. we can call you, I can text you, I can send you a picture of something that's going on. And Todd's extremely good about getting back to us, provides us good information, points us in the right direction, whatever it is to learn. And that's something I'm sure he's willing to do with, a lot of people.
We do that with a lot of folks. I think the big thing is, especially with the new bill coming through, that's going to allow us to do telehealth.
Mm-hmm.
It was allowed during COVID,
wow.
Then it was pulled.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be allowed to do telehealth. We can't do it for
her checks
for health papers. That's a USDA. That's a federal license for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in essence, we've had to do it the last 10, 15 years because we can't cover this many states and always be there.
Right.
But I think and to bounce off that a little bit about what you said was, if we have the original VCPR, the vet client patient relationship, the biggest thing about that isn't pulling in the driveway. The biggest thing is seeing your facilities and knowing how you move pigs.
Yeah.
So if you call a year later and I say, you say, hey, we're having this in the grower barn. Okay, it's the grower barn up on the hill. And you've got this fan. You haven't changed anything in there. Yep. What's your highs and lows? Okay, then we can go from there. Because the number one driver of health issues is environment.
Mm-hmm.
So if we know their environment, now we can answer a lot of questions. But we get calls all the time. I've never been on the farm. They're like, well, what do you think this is? My pig died. Like, I don't know what it died. Yeah. And so that's where I think that telehealth will help some.
Mm-hmm.
Now the law is going to say that you have to have a VCPR, and it should. You should have a VCPR. But once you've been there and you see it, you don't forget the facility as a veterinarian.
Right.
Like you can still see it in your mind.
Oh yeah.
So it helps us then make an assessment of what could this be, right? Is this management? Is this ventilation from a management aspect, or is this a disease aspect?
Right.
And I think that's the big thing, that having that original client-patient relationship, knowing where they're talking about, what their gestation barn looks like, what their grower barn looks like, what they bed with, how they do things, that helps a bunch, just a bunch. And then you can help a bunch of people over the phone. You don't necessarily have to go to the farm.
Right.
So
yeah, no, we like having you. You probably come out at least a couple times a year or so, and having a vet that you like, trust, believe in, just come and look around.
Right.
Even if you don't have a problem, which a lot of times when you come, we don't have anything major going on, but having you come and put some eyeballs on things and, run some checks for us and make sure that, we haven't lost sight.
Well, I think that's important, because even if you're not having a problem, because if you go to the farm for a problem, you want to spend your time on that problem. And then you're not looking at the bigger things, right? So it just so happens a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was out on the farm and did a walkthrough, a once a year kind of walkthrough,
which I think is great for anybody to have. And
we found this happened to be a smaller commercial herd, but walking through, and I found these pigs dog sitting, and they were scooting about 3 or 4 feet before they got up. Well, that's just notorious for mycoplasma, how pneumonia, how synovial in the joints, in the hip.
Yeah.
So we treated appropriately, talked to the guy, and started him on meds, and just talked to him here a few days ago, and the pigs are already improved.
Yeah.
But it had slowly come on, and he didn't even pick up on it. Yeah. And I would say it's the same reason when I did a lot of commercial work, we would go in and we would once a year go through the quality assurance. And it sounds mundane, but you would find things in the vaccine protocol that just drifted for whatever reason. It just drifted. Now we're not giving this much iron, we're giving this much, or we're giving this on a different day. And you don't know who changed it, but it changed sometime in the last year.
Yeah.
So just having that annual or that once a year visit just to go through processes and protocols is good.
Yeah. No, I think it's super important, and that's why we love having you out when you do and walk through, and we're looking at the same things every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy when you get used to seeing the same thing.
Exactly.
If something dips off 1%,
right,
every couple of days, and then you just get used to what it looks like, and then have a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah,
when this happened.
Yeah. And, I actually stopped down for the whiskey.
We didn't find that
when you got here.
Yeah, we'll send the necklace. We'll turn the camera on. But no, regardless, I think it's immensely important to have a relationship with a vet that you like, trust, believe in, is there for you, like we do here with Todd, and like you can with, any of your local vets. And like you were talking about earlier, even if, maybe your local vet's not quite up to where you want them to be or where they could be, with a little bit of help and Todd's help, kind of mediating through another veterinarian's eyes, there's a lot that you can accomplish, even like you said, without even stepping foot onto
The other
person's
person's
farm.
know the language and stuff, and Todd would be there to help them through the process, I guess, is
Mm-hmm.
the way I look at it. You know?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And you'd be surprised.
And,
I mean,
and to interpret.
Yeah.
just interpret
Yep.
the results.
Right.
Yeah. That helps a ton.
Right.
Just understanding that. And we're just the issue is they do more mixed animal and then slide to small animal is getting like human medicine, and then it's so detailed and so in depth. It's not just vaccinating dogs anymore. It's so detailed and so in depth that they have to spend their entire time just keeping up on a small new things.
Well, yeah, it just takes time to learn the techniques.
Yeah. So having somebody come in and help them, but you're right. We can speak the same language, and if I say I need a PCR test on this or that, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you touched on something, and it's a question I get asked quite a bit. Iron shots. Do you prefer we give 200 milligram iron, 100 milligram iron? Do you prefer we give them an iron shot day 1, day 2, day 3, day 7? What's your feelings on this?
So we did a bunch of research probably 10, 12 years ago within a group that I was in, the veterinarians, and we split it up amongst us. I like the 200 milligram iron because one of the biggest issues with iron is how much is leaking back when you give that shot.
Yeah, right. How much
It's
comes
just
back out the
physically
ground?
how much is leaking out, right?
Of course.
So we moved everybody to a smaller needle, 5/8 length. So it's a 22 typically, or a 20, 5/8. And what we do is we put a little bit of dexamethasone with it because we've also done research in some bigger sow farms to show that we get a heavier pig at weaning if we put a little bit of
Do
dexamethasone.
you really?
They eat more.
Wow.
For that next day, they eat more. And guess on day 1, they're eating more of that real rich colostrum.
Right.
Mhm.
So that really gets them started off.
They get a jump start.
Yeah, we were getting actually almost a half a pound heavier pig.
Wow.
And this was over 3,000 litters.
Wow.
So it was significant.
That's a big, but
We didn't see a difference if we gave 1 ml of 200 milligram iron and then a half an ml a week later.
Mm-hmm.
I try to make things as easy as I can. So I ask people to do 3/4 of a cc on both sides of the neck.
Okay.
Because if I give more than 1 cc
on day one.
on day one,
On day 1.
because if I give more than 1 cc on the side, I
It's
get
gonna
too
come
much
out.
leak back. So we got to be able to get that into them. In doing all that, we were able to cut and we measured this by looking at hemoglobin concentration post weaning on weaned pigs.
Wow. Wow.
And if we did that, we cut our anemic pigs down to almost half on commercial units.
Wow.
Yeah. So another one of those things that you learn in the commercial world because you have so many pigs to work on,
yeah,
but you can bring that to the show pig world,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Because that pig still needs iron. He's still a pig,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So it works well. But no, we recommend 3/4 on both sides of the neck.
Okay.
You get the same result if you do 3/4 and wait a week and give 3/4. But
You
I've got enough other things. I've got other things I want to do,
You
and
don't need to be catching those
don't
pigs.
catch many more than you have to.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's, I'm glad I asked that question. Well, you're using 22 gauge needles. We still use a 20.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And you can use either one. I think the experience with what you guys have and you're handling pigs, you know how to do it without them moving around. Understand that I have a lot of people that have 2 sows or 10 sows.
Right.
And so they're not used to processing litters. And so the pig moves around more. So a smaller needle, less of a path.
Yeah. And less leakage.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the kind of reason some herds we go to a little different needle.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And that also brings up the point of vaccine protocols. People say, well, what protocol are you using? And I make a separate protocol for every herd. Now, there's a blanket one that I start with. But the reason I change it is if you're weaning at 24 days, it's a different protocol than if you're weaning at 20, right? And I've moved a lot to vaccinating sows while they're in the crate because it's just easier.
Before you wean the pig.
Before you wean the pig, because it's just easier.
She's captive.
She's captive, and a bunch of show pig herds have them out in pens,
Right.
and that's okay. That's what they need to be.
Mhm.
But if she's captive in that crate, it's easier for the owner to get a hold of them and get shots into.
Yeah.
So we've moved that protocol around because of that reason. But if somebody says, "Hey, I don't mind doing quarterly shots," then we may have them do quarterlies. I also have to make sure that the person's knowledgeable enough that, hey, if that sow didn't breed, she still needs her PRRS vaccine and her flu vaccine. So we got to walk out into the open pen and get it into her. So
And that can be challenging.
that can be challenging. So it all depends on the client.
Yeah.
No, good stuff. A lot of information in this podcast. We attempted to cover as much as we can. I'm sure if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, reach out to Todd. Wealth of information, sitting here to my right for sure. Closing remarks.
Right here's a wealth of information.
But mine was took 50 years to get.
But no, we're just trying to soak up as much as we can here.
Yeah.
Guys, give us a listen on the podcast. Like, share, comment, anything you want to hear us talk about. Anything that you do have questions about, definitely reach out to us. I'm sure reach out to Todd. He'd love to help you and point you in the right direction as well, as he does for lots and lots and lots of people already. Anything else, guys?
I had one more question. Todd,
Yeah.
if a group of people all within 100 miles of each other, and you name the state, would like to use you as a consulting vet or to have your help, can they get together and come up with a day? Hopefully the same veterinarian will be servicing all of those guys,
You bet.
that you could fly out there,
Yep. You bet.
visit, look at the herds.
And that's what it takes. I love what I do, but it's like Northern California.
Right.
I didn't go out there for the first 5 years. I was just helping them on the phone. And then I found enough FFA chapters and enough breeders that it made it worth the flight out and the licensing fee.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when I did that, then we started doing annual visits out there because we go out and hit them all. But that's you hit the nail on the head there, Randy. It's got to be financially reasonable for us to do it.
And so it can't just very seldom is just one person.
Exactly.
You need to get a group of guys together and say, hey,
Right.
we're going to have him come in
Yep.
with our veterinarian and get, come up with a protocol. And then at that point in time, you can see their facilities and
Exactly.
they can call you. And
You can spend a couple days,
Yep.
3-4
Yep.
days, see all the
Yep.
facilities or whatever it takes.
Yep.
And then then we know what we're dealing with. And we can get things rolling after that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And with any luck at all, you're going to go mountain lion.
exactly.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
States like that, weather comes into play a lot. Like the weather in Ohio is way different than the weather in Texas.
Exactly.
Like you could farrow in an open-sided barn in Texas if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's amazing. That was one of the first states I got into years ago. And, I saw $40,000 gilts 15, 20 years ago in open lots with a railroad car flipped upside down.
Yeah.
That's just how they handle them, right? All their buildings are sprayed with styrofoam. They don't have to worry about. All they got to do is just keep the sun off of them. It's a different ball game down there.
Yeah.
Not better, not worse, just a different ball game. And the fun part is managing around. But yeah, just being able to see it and seeing how to do things and stay away from mountain lions.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm just glad we don't have mountain lions here. Aaron, he'd be hunting mountain lions.
For sure. That for sure. But, well, Todd, thank you so much for being out here with us and being on the podcast and everything. Definitely been a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
To us again for questions, and we will do the best we can to help you out.
Appreciate it.
All righty, guys. Thank you again. Appreciate you tuning in, and let us know what you want to see out of us next.
Thanks, guys.
All righty, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.